Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Buff Breakdown. Anniversary 9 buffs, day 2, we are here. We got the buff for a 5-star assassin and as you could see, it landed on Cleopatra. Not a bad choice in my opinion. And then we had a 3-star caster, and this one I am very surprised about because it's Asclepius. Yeah, they buffed one of the best 3-star casters, if not the best one, so interesting. Maybe not the most needing of buffs, but sure, I guess. I mean, yeah, and also, spoiler, this is a huge buff. Let's talk about Cleo first, okay, because this buff is a bit more straightforward. So they buffed her second skill. So what did it use to do? On a 6-turn cooldown, she got 40% MP gain for 3 turns. Pretty solid. She got 10% MP gauge per turn for 3 turns, okay, and then 1k healing every turn for 3 turns for herself. Not bad, honestly. I think this skill was passable. It's not bad, and especially when that MP gain up, her card gains become so good that it's actually very easy to spam her MP. So it was already pretty good for that. But let's see what did they do. Much like yesterday's theme, everything I just listed remains unchanged, so nothing of the previous effects was changed. But now they added 2 new lines. So she now gets up to a 30% battery for self on use. And then she gets 40% buff success rate up for 3 turns on max rank. This is what I was hoping for if they were going to give her a skill buff. You know, at least this effect on one of the skills. Very cool. Because remember, she has an Imperial Privilege, which, you know, 60% chance to get that fat 40% attack and defense for 3 turns. So you always want to land those, basically. It's a bit awkward because this skill is still on a 6-turn cooldown, and IP is on a 5-turn cooldown. So on rotation 2, you might still want to hold off on using IP, I guess, because now you could guarantee the buffs with this, so... It's not the perfect solution in my opinion, but I think it's still great that she has this. Because I think what was mostly holding Cleo back is that even with an upgraded MP, her damage wasn't all that great because her kit, while it's not too bad, it just doesn't have a lot of damage buffs in it. The only damage buff she has is the 1-turn buster up from her MP, and the overcharge, and the attack up from the IP, which can also whiff. So if you whiff this, she was lacking a lot of damage. So with this, at least now, she can guarantee a very big 40% attack up, which will actually help quite a bit, especially now since I mentioned the MP is buffed. Very cool. So this kind of addresses, you know, I want to say her biggest problem. It's maybe not the, you know, instant top tier solution kind of buff or anything like that, but certainly a good buff, I would say. The battery seems pretty random to me. I don't know. Like I was saying, with the MP gain up and the MP per turn, her face card's already so good that it's so easy to loop her MP, even as someone who has a buster MP. So honestly, I would have done something else besides a battery here. But I suppose, you know, for the big Cleo fans, with this you can loop now, buster loop. You will need to do a 50% comp, of course, because it's a 30%er and you need the second append. And let's not even talk about the can of worms that is appends right now. But yeah, it is now doable for the record. So I guess for that, it's pretty cool. But honestly, well, I will have to see the farming numbers. Granted, she can, now that I think about it actually, it will actually be pretty okay, I guess, because with Koyan you can also stack IP, and it will still be guaranteed attack buffs on both. So that's actually 80% attack. Actually, on a second thought, maybe her farming will actually be very decent now, even with, you know, having to use that 50% starting gauge C instead of like Black Rail. Very interesting, actually. So this is a buff that helps with both farming and DPSing then, which is, you know, ideal for a DPS, I suppose. Now this year's tier list, I had her on a B+, which, you know, I think is pretty fair, but now I think she should go up for sure. I'm thinking minimum A, like A tier, maybe even A+, honestly. I will have to see the farming numbers properly. They might actually be pretty decent, although remember, assassins still have that scuffed attack modifier in there. Base attack tends to not be very high to begin with as well, but you know, that high attack buff now helps a lot, I suppose. But I think a minimum A is definitely in order. This is a good buff. So hey, great that they didn't forget her. Let's just hope she maybe gets like a summer variant or something at some point too, because she's not a bad waifu at all. Now let's talk about Asclepius. Yeah, again, this was very surprising. There's a lot of 3-star casters that I think needed a buff way more than Asclepius, but yeah, for Asclepius fans, you will be very happy because this buff is huge. It's very good. So they buffed his third skill, so what did it do? Previously, on a 7-turn cooldown, the full party gets up to 20% gauge, so spread battery, very cool, and also removes debuffs for the full party. Honestly, pretty bad, or not bad, pretty good actually, especially for a 3-star. In fact, this is straight up better than Helena's first skill, which is only a 20% battery on the same cooldown. So it was already better than her skill. So this is pretty funny that they buffed this as well because of that. But yeah, again, much like yesterday, they didn't change anything that already existed. So cooldown, gauge, and the cleanse all remain the same. But he got 3 new lines. Yes! So the party now gets up to 20% arts up for 3 turns, 100% healing up for 3 turns. And wow, when he himself does not have a guts, he now gets a 3k guts for 1 time 3 turns. Which, if you remember, his MP does give a guts to all allies except for him. So this was always kind of an awkward little thing, since, you know, he can kind of protect others, but he himself has a hard time protecting himself because he didn't get the guts from the MP. So I guess they changed their mind because now his own guts, the 3k revive, matches an MP5 guts for his teammates. So that's interesting. Also, talking about the healing buff, if you use his MP on base overcharge, it's a 1k heal per turn for everyone, including himself, every turn for 3 turns. And with the buff, because it's a 100% healing boost, it's now a minimum of 2k per turn. So, and the best you can do is 6k per turn on max overcharge with the 3rd skill active. Wow, so his healing just got ramped up a lot. Also, remember, this is not the only heal he has, because on his first skill, he has a 5k targeted heal. And yes, if you use the 3rd skill first for that 100% boost, this is now a targeted 10,000 heal. Yes, so basically full HP for anyone. Wow, even at SSR in most cases, I would say. Wow, and I didn't even talk about the arts buff much yet, but even that's like crazy. Jesus, this skill is nuts, and it matches the rest of his kit so well too. It fixed the problem of him not being able to survive that much, makes his healing so much better, and now he gives the party more offense too, because really he didn't have too much in the way of buffing the party's offense besides like the MP gain from the 2nd skill. That was basically it. Otherwise, he didn't really do too much to help you, you know, DPS the bosses down faster. But now, yeah, you get that arts up too, because why the frick not? Wow. What a nutty skill, especially on a 3-star, and especially on a servant that really, honestly, didn't even need a buff, because he was already very solid and usable as is. What? So, sadly, my caster tier list, I think the cache broke, so, you know, the placements were lost. But I went back to my placements list, I looked at the final ones, and we placed him in A+ this year. And honestly, with this, he probably should be EX tier among 3-stars now, honestly. That's a big buff. He will still, I think, mostly be relegated to, you know, a CQ support. I don't think he will be really... I think Zhufu is still going to be way better for, like, arts looping, supporting, because bigger battery for your looper. And also, I think the arts up is better too. Or it's the same, maybe. But honestly, maybe if you're doing multi-core, there could be some. Because remember, his battery is spread instead of single target. So there could actually be some farming applications for him too. But especially on bosses, he's looking ever so better when he was already so solid as a 3-star. Wow. Yeah, just... I'm shocked that they honestly buffed him and gave him a big buff too, for that matter. So there you go. Wow, pretty crazy day too, honestly. Both servants just got, you know, all of their application improved. I think Cleo definitely needed the buff more because people hardly ever use or talk about her. So now she can farm, and her boss presence is also way better. And Asclepius now, it has way better boss presence as well, and also maybe even some farming application. So there's your like recap. Now tomorrow for day 3 we are seeing a buff to a 5-star rider, and my prediction / hopes would be either Iskandar or Quetzalcoatl. I think they could definitely use buffs. And 4-star assassin, I'm predicting either Steno or Kiritsugu, but a part of me kind of really wants to see Summer Okita because, you know, biased of course, but there you go, there's my predictions real fast. So if you enjoyed this buff breakdown, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button, really helps out. Also, hey, good luck if you're still rolling on the anniversary. Subscribe for more content, we are doing daily content because of these buff breakdowns, so hopefully day 3 tomorrow will be as exciting as today. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Talk to you in the next video. and peace out.